Morning. Hello. It is Monday. I'm checking the date, 22nd of March. It's steaming on, isn't it? So spring is officially here, and with it, well, it's lovely, isn't it? So much growth around, warmer, lighter, and yeah, hope you're managing to make the most of it. But today it's all about the Tai Chi movement for well-being. I'm a bit perturbed because Sam's just sort of sunk down in my spot, but I'll try and find a spot. As always, I'm going to do this sequence standing, but if you've got a chair that works for you, you can do the sequence seated as well. Just make sure you've got enough room to swing your arms around a little bit, because we are going to be using this space around you. So just have a little play here. Make sure the space is safe. Make sure there's nothing that you're going to slip over on. I've got no shoes on, but you can wear shoes if you prefer. Some people have sort of non-slip socks that they like to wear. Just make sure you're nice and secure. And we've got a really lovely session. Well, they're always lovely, aren't they? Really lovely session this morning. So before we start, just make sure you're feeling well, that you've not got any fever, any illness. Really not a good idea to do anything like this, particularly with that change of level sometimes that we go through. And the other thing I'd like you to think about is that principle of soft limit, basically just moving within your range, not trying to overreach. When we try too hard, it's when we sometimes get unstuck. So we might hurt the shoulder, we might do things. So it's very much about being, within your limitations, working to that stretch point, but not beyond. Right then, shall we start? We're going to start with a little bit of a warm-up. I'm going to get us just to play around with these feet before we do anything. So when we're thinking about Tai Chi, we're thinking about our stance, okay? So often, particularly after a year like this, we might find ourselves waking up in the morning feeling a bit like this. And what we want to do is just try and recapture that spine that we were born with. So just long and proud. And they say that the body reflects the mind reflects the body. So if we can allow this body to come into that strong, confident position, then it starts to affect the mind. So feet hip width apart, nice long spine, shoulders nice and relaxed. And we're going to think about the tension we might have in the shoulders, the tension we might have in this lower back area in the tailbone. So we're going to place the hands just over that abdominal area, somewhere around there. And we're going to just see if we can allow this tension to fall away from the shoulders, seep away from that lower back. Just let it go. Just let everything settle. Let that tension go. You're not going to need it for now. And then when you feel ready, we're going to rub these hands together. Create friction between the skin of one hand and the skin of the other. And then allow that head to rest in those hands, that face. Take a moment to notice your breathing. To notice how you're really feeling today. And then we'll rub those hands together as well. So this is all about coming into you. How do you feel? How do your fingers feel? Skin, neck. And one more time. Might notice a little bit more warmth on the third rub. Maybe not. Just keep noticing. And then one last time, letting that head rest in those hands. And then we're going to take those hands away, come into that self-massage. Just allowing those fingertips to dance over the skull. Allow that touch to go where you feel you need it. And then we're going to give these earlobes a massage. These little circular movements. And then from the earlobes, we're going to take that massage around the outside of the ears, all the way to that little knobbly bit that no one knows the name for. And then we're going to relax. Just notice that sense of tension. And then we're going to see if we can make that light fist or use the fingertips. And we're going to take this massage. I'm going to stand so you can see just to the neck, to the shoulder. And we've talked about the tension in the shoulders, so you might want to pay a little bit of attention to this area. And then when you feel ready, down the outside of that arm. Down the outside of that arm. Noticing how this feels. Back up the inside. Try not to rush through it. Trying to think of it as part of the journey, I suppose. And then allowing arm to rest. Thinking about the other side. You can support that arm if you need to. Finding that touch that works for you. Shouldn't be hurting, but at the same time we want to be able to feel it. We want it to have an effect on our body. Down the outside and then back up over the palm, back at the inside of that arm. Just noticing any areas of tightness, pain, lightness, and then covering that front half of the body. So these taps can be alternate, they can be same time. It's up to you really, whatever works for you. Some of us work better on together or alternate. So we're just covering this digestive system. You know, the cold air may affect your chest, so you might want to pay a little bit of attention to your lungs. Just paying this body some attention, saying, yeah, you do a lot for us. I'm going to do something for you. So to the back now, and we're going to take this tap down the backs of these legs. Now, you may need to bend the knee and temper how far you go. Okay, I'm just going to go as far as that and back at the inside. You try not to push it. And then we're going to take it to the side. So I'm just going to turn every now and again so you can see where I'm going. And we're just lifting that chest, not overreaching, just coming back up the inside. Good. Some of you will be able to go down as far as your toes. That's definitely not me at the moment. We'll see on the second sequence. Good. The body takes time to warm up, to loosen up. Good. Just shake out those feet, shake out those arms. And then when you feel ready, let's think about that long spine again. See if we can find that position where we're balanced, strong, ready for action, but stable. We're going to remember that big long tail. Again, I'm going to turn myself. You don't have to turn as well. Just feel I need to show you different angles. So we're going to be very aware of this curve in our spine. Okay, sometimes we tend to exaggerate it. If we talk in terms of our tail, if it's exaggerated, our tail tends to stick straight out and our tummy sticks out a little bit. So we're just going to draw that tummy in and allow that long tail to hang down just above the heels. And then we're going to take those knees off lock, place that tail on the floor. Let's just try that again, straightening out those legs. This time, placing your hands at that center. And as we place that tail down, let's see if we can open from that center. We're going to breathe in, breathe out. You're going to find your own rhythm. And on that next breath out, diagonal repatterning. Generally breathing into center, breathing out as we move away from center. But that may not work for you. Remembering there's no wrong. It's all right. We're using this sequence to make contact with ourselves, to feel those feet connected to the floor, to help us become grounded, to connect with that spine so that we're grounded and centered. Thinking about that breathing, relax. And then coming back to center, we're just going to let these arms go, 2 dragons wrapping. So as we do this, there's that weight transfer into one foot, into the other. Just letting that head go, letting those shoulders relax. Good. This is such a lovely movement to lose tension. And then tail is down. Picture this globe resting in the curve of this arm, and the curve of this arm. And we're going to just allow this globe to stay there. We're going to open up this left side of the body for our vital organ warmer. And then we're going to open up the right side of the body. This globe resting in the crook of the arms all the time. And then we're going to lift your chest over that globe, just open up that lower back. And then let's see if we can circle so that we're opening up that left side. Circle up so we're opening up the abdominals, opening up that right side of the body. So we're breathing in as we open up, as we lengthen that abdominal area. Breathing out as we compress. Breathing in. Shoulders are soft. Arms are soft. It's as if the hips have been buried in sand. And then we're going to change direction. So there's no movement below the waistband of the trousers. The movement is all taking place within these trunks, between the ribs and the pelvis. These core muscles are lifting those ribs, circling those ribs. We're breathing out, breathing in. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the head, softening the neck. Just letting that head go with the flow. And then just allowing those arms to rest. Imagine some sort of warm water just gently rolling off the shoulders, down the arms, just trickling off the fingers. Very relaxing. We're just going to soften those knees, gently bend those knees. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's connect with that breathing. Imagine the elbows connected to that breath in. And those arms just pushing that air out of your lungs. Breathing in, breathing out. There's flow, grace. Let's do one more. Imagine those helium balloons just floating those elbows up. And then heaven and earth, circles. I'm going to change my angle so we can see that straightening of the leg. Just a tiny movement with that knee. Heels are down. Imagine these palms lengthening that lower spine, lengthening down through that tail, down to the ground. And then open to the day, that welcome. Remembering our soft limit. So remembering where we might become unstuck, whether we overbreathe, whether we overreach. Find that point where the body's happy to reach. And then gently come back to you. Flexing the sky, so keeping those heels down, little bend of that knee. Breathing in. As we breathe in, just noticing, imagining that sky above us. Sometimes cloudy, sometimes grey, but we're going to part those clouds. Find that warm sunshine, golden sun, that blue sky. And then reversing this move. So these hands push forwards, knees bend. Remembering our soft limit. Softening that neck. Softening that breathing. Finding that flow. Feeling those feet connected to this ground. Feeling for that center, that long spine, that tension, letting it seep down into the floor. From that center, and gaze at the moon, taking that weight through that right leg. One hand. Breathing out through that shoulder, all the way through the arm. With 2 hands. Allowing that weight to spiral through that right leg. Back to both. To spiral through that left leg. So thinking about our natural step. So I'm going to turn myself for this one. We're going to think about turning this foot away from center, so the right foot. So somewhere from 12 to about 2 o'clock. And as we place the ball of the foot down, we're going to turn those hips so they're facing that knee. And then placing this heel just a small step out. And then allowing the ball of the foot to come through. Then allowing these heels to turn. Heels, hips. So we're going to take that weight into the front foot and into this back foot. So we're square on. It's this proud move. It's about who we are. And then when we feel ready, here am I, breathing in, breathing out. Noticing if we're overreaching, trying too hard as we breathe out. Changing that leading foot. So this time, taking this foot out, turning those hips, and then just stepping out with that heel. As you come back, hips are facing forwards. We're going to place that tail down. Just practice that weight transfer. So let those toes sink down into the floor. And then when we're ready, clearing this space. Moving those thoughts that don't help us. Negatives, the what ifs. Let's push them away. Let's focus on the things that we can change, not the things that we can't. Let's be positive. Turning back round. Waving hands like clouds. Again, sinking down. Allowing that tail down. Allowing those hands to sense one another. Palms. Maybe recognizing each other. And then bringing the palms to face this abdominal area. We're going to place the left hand on the top. And when you feel ready, drawing that left hand, the right follows. It's that transfer from right to left. Almost pushing that right foot into the floor. Push in that left. It's as if the movement's initiated from the ground. The arms, everything else follows. Then our 5 elements. Breathing in, breathing out. Thinking about the flow, the breathing. Flow like water. Just picture how that water finds its way over rocks, through gaps. It always finds a way. It flows. Drawing that breath in. It's as if we're moving through water. It's dense. It's not letting those arms fall. It's deliberate. Conscious. A circle of well-being. So taking that weight through that right leg. I'm going to draw this circle. The weight's transferring through to that left leg. And we're going to draw this circle all the way around it. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. This is a line of well-being. It's your well-being. And we're going to change direction. Again, using that soft limit. Return to center. Thinking about that breath coming into the lungs, gently pushing it out. Feeling those feet connected to the ground, your balance. And drawing in any stray thoughts as you breathe in, connecting to your center, to the ground. Just that breath in, that breath out. Breath in. And then we'll just gently wiggle those toes, give those hands a little shake if you need to. And we're at the end of that first sequence. So lots on breathing, flow. And we'll have just a minute or two just so you can get a drink, have a comfort break if you need it. And then we're going to go back into the second sequence. So exactly the same sequence, but we're going to do 3 movements in each move rather than the 5. So slightly less time on each one. What I thought when we were doing that, I did think about that folding action, the hip folding action, how important it is really. So if you're having a comfort break, don't worry, but if you're just waiting for me to restart, we're just going to think about how when we stand, to protect our knees, it's sort of quite important that we have this sort of flexibility in the hips. So what we're trying to do is almost push the weight from one leg to the other. But it's as if these hips are folding a bit, but the knees are almost staying in line with the toes. So we've got this sort of, and it comes into lots of different moves. So diagonal repatterning. Okay, and I'm going to show you from this angle. So my tail is still down, my knees are slightly soft, but I'm taking my weight from one foot to the other, but protecting the knee joints by sort of getting some flexibility. Now, I'm not the most flexible here, but it also comes into waving hands like clouds. So it looks like we're taking the arms either side, but in fact, we're not. We keep the arms sort of here. And it's this movement, this folding action that makes it look like we're moving side to side. Okay. Same with 2 dragons wrapping. Arms, we're here, we're here, we're here. And all the while that tail is down. So have a little practice when we're doing these things, just to get that solid base, that tail down. And just practice that gentle weight transfer. It's not that there's no weight in the opposite leg, but the majority is coming through here and we're pushing down, bringing to the other side. So the movement initiates from the floor, from the ground, up through the legs and out through the arms. I'm not sure if that made any sense, but I'm hoping a bit did. You never know on a Monday morning what I'm going to say. Right, are we ready for our second sequence? I'm really looking forward to this. I so enjoyed the first one. So just in case you've had a few distractions, let's come back into the body with a slightly shorter warm-up. Find that position. And when you are, just rub those hands together. And ask yourself, how do my palms feel now? Any different? Notice, how do I feel after the first sequence compared with how I felt when we did this first? And then allowing your body to guide your fingers where to do that tapping. Allowing that body to show you where it wants you to go. So letting the body take control rather than the mind overriding it. And then when you feel ready, that neck, shoulder. How does it feel now? Is it as tense as it was earlier? Not saying it was tense. Just taking your time, not rushing, exploring, making sure you don't miss something that's important. Into that front of the body. Good. To the back. Getting that lower back Don't know if you've been doing a bit of gardening as well, but mine needs a bit of tapping. And then again, bending those knees if you feel you need to. Just coming down the backs of the legs, then back up the inside. And then we're coming down the sides. So I'm paying a little bit of attention to these glutes in the side of the body. And then finally down the front. Remembering that spine. So let's find that spine. It's not been through this last year. It's like the one we had when we were 3 or 4. And standing tall. And when you feel ready, we're going to place that tail down. And at the same time, just open up that connection between the palms and your center. Diagonal repatterning. It's that connection between that left palm, right foot. Notice as we move to this side how we push that left foot down into the floor to bring ourselves back to center. There's that breath out, breath in. And then tension, 2 dragons wrapping. When that leg movement stops, the arms take a little bit of time to come back. But they do. Our vital organ warm up. Opening up that left side of the body. Opening up that lower back. Opening up the abdomen. Breathing in, opening up that left side, breathing out. Noticing that head, the toes. See if we can soften the neck and then change in direction. Soften the toes, let those toes spread out. The balls of the feet sink down into the floor. The heels are sinking. The toes are sinking. Everything relax. Apart from these core muscles deep within the trunk. That steel core surrounded by silk. So we're going to breathe in. Like we have a pair of bellows instead of lungs, and as the arms open, the chest opens, the bellows fill with air, and then we're just gently pushing it out. Heaven and earth. Feel those feet connected to the floor. Push those feet Straighten through those legs. Sink back down. Then we're open to the day. Just breathing into your armpits, softening that neck as we come down. Welcoming this day. Welcoming any possibilities. And then breathing out. Finding those palms. Breathing in and out. So those heels stay down, only bending those knees as much as you feel comfortable. Notice how we feel when we're closed off, how we feel when we open up. Rowing that boat, breathing in. Taking these thumbs, these arms wide rather than behind us. Not too far behind. With these shoulders. And then gazing at the moon. 2 hands. Breathing out. And in. We're breathing out. And in. Breathing out. And again, there's that weight transfer into that left leg. Back to both. Letting this breathing help you flow. So this time facing you, I'm going to take that natural step. I'm going to turn those hips just in line with that knee, that big toe, and then stepping out. Good. And then when we come back to center, allowing those hips to come back, facing forwards. We're going to breathe in, breathe out. This is me. Changing that leading leg. I find this move particularly interesting in this strange COVID time because we've actually found out what makes us tick, maybe more so than if we hadn't had this year. What is it that makes you tick? What gives you that sense of well-being? What makes you you? And what will you be happy to let go forever? And then bringing that left hand over the right. So I'm still looking for that weight transfer, that folding at the hips, waving hands like that. 5 elements. Let's imagine we're in a meadow. You can hear this stream bubbling and gurgling. There's trees, beautiful wildflowers. You can hear bird song. And we're going to connect with all those things, nature and natural. We're going to put ourselves right in the center of it. Breathe in that air. Notice how the sunshine feels. Feel that breeze that's rippling through the long grasses. And listen out to that gurgling stream. Full of life. And that circle of well-being. Taking that breath in, breath out. What are you going to do to promote your sense of well-being this week? What makes you tick? Let's put it in our agenda. Let's put up that action in our diary for every day. Even if it's just 2 minutes. Let's look after ourselves. Return to center. And slowly but surely, just coming back into that room, giving those feet, they do stay quite static in this sequence, so it's nice to give them a little movement. And just gradually listening to the sounds of things around you and coming back slowly into the room. Don't expect too much of yourself straight away. Thank you for joining me. I made a little bit of an allusion to some of the technique in the break. If there is anything you'd like a little bit more help with, do get in touch with me. It's sarah.tag, T-A-G-G, @ceredigion.gov.uk. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, wonderful rest of the week. Try maybe and bring in a couple of minutes practice every day. If every day sounds terrible, doesn't it? But if you find the one sequence useful, if you can find time maybe just to find somewhere where you can feel your feet, maybe even seated, sitting bones on the chair, maybe focus just on that return to center, if that works for you. Otherwise, I shall see you next week at 11 o'clock. Take care, my friends. Goodbye.